Hi, it's Elaine from Penguin Place Crafts, and I'm in the middle of a monster mess. Yesterday my granddaughter came over, and at one point she said, "Where are the toys?" We haven't had a little kid in this house for 30 years. No, not 30, 20 years since we had someone her age in this house. It's been like 22 years. And, well, Grammy doesn't really have all that many toys. And then I was talking with my daughter about designing Monster of the Month, and I decided to bring out my bin of monsters so that I could show her the kind of monsters I'd been designing. Oh, my granddaughter went nuts. She had such fun playing with them. And um, when they were ready to leave, my daughter was like, "Okay, now you have to put the monsters back in their box because Grammy is trying to sell them to other kids who would love them and give them a good home. Well, I need to get them on my Etsy shop in order for other kids to love them and give them a good home." So today, I emptied out my entire monster box, and I tried to sort through them, and I tried to color code my inventory sheet to make sure, okay, if it's got an Etsy listing, the sheet was not alphabetized, which caused some problems. I think I've got it now. So I have these guys arranged by their Etsy listing. Like right now, these two guys, oops, yes, his eye's on that side. These two guys have their own listing. They may look slightly familiar because Shannon at Another Yarn bought the third one that I made when I was trying to perfect this pattern. I think this was my February Monster of the Month. Well, there's only 2 monsters in the listing, so I have to add to that listing. Okay, this blue bag is going to be for 1 listing, so that was 2. So I'm going to add my 3 monsters from September. Well, I made these 2 first, and then I made one in worsted weight. So that takes that listing up to 5. And then these guys, July. July was a fuzzy. It was a homespun monster month. So there are the July monsters. So that takes that listing up to like 8. Okay, there's 8 monsters ready to be. I'll get a group picture, I'll get individual pictures, I'll update that Etsy listing. Problem is, I can't update the Etsy listing until I get the table cleared off so I can shift the table around because, well, maybe I could get in there. The way that I have the table now, it's hard to get to my light box. It's always something. Okay. There's another listing that has, what was this? This was March. The March monsters. One of them sold, the blue one sold. But I have these 2 from March. And I'm going to go into that listing and I'm going to add, is this guy June? I didn't write it on that tag. Oh well. These 2 that I think were my June monster. These 2 that were another month. May. 2 May monsters of the month. And 2 September monsters. Okay, so that's another. Keep them together. There are a few, like the Imaginarium monster. He has his own listing. Because he's so big and expensive, he gets an individual listing. And I think my Impkin in the Cape has his own listing. I'll have to check that one out. And of course, Mr. Ugly. Mr. Ugly has his own listing. I think I'm at the point now where I need to make another one because I have 2 big balls of scrap yarn ready to go. So it might be a Mr. Ugly time. Here's another listing of just miscellaneous monsters. There's Blondie and Pink Stripe. My granddaughter said that these 2 are best friends. These are very similar to my January monster, where it started out with legs at the bottom and then you work the body up and taper it, although they have different arms and different hairstyles. But this was the basic design for my January monster of the month. Oh, speaking of that same body design, here's Goldie. There's Sluggo. I don't know what I was thinking. Just making a floppy-eyed slug. I put him in monsters because I didn't know where else to put him. My mishmash monster. I think the green part was a... Why did the lighting just change? I think the green part was a turtle shell, and the yellow part was a dinosaur horn, maybe? And I had some horns, oh, I need to tuck in a string, from a cow left over. So I had all these parts in a bag, and I think I had a few circles that I made the eyeball from. So I just sort of went nuts and put them all together into my mishmash monster. Somebody somewhere is going to love this guy. This is the green and gold sassy guy. I mean, look at him sticking out his tongue. He's got sort of a copper top head to him. And the little green girl. So they are all in one listing. I think I can add a couple to that listing. These Yip Yips I put in the monster box, even though they're listed as aliens. So they can go back in that box. They've got their listing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hug Monsters. Pattern by Katie at Yarn Society. They have their own listing. These are such fun to make. I need to make some more of these to go through the scrap yarn I've been working on. Speaking of scrap yarn, I have 2 things that I finished in the last few days. Oh, there's another box. This is another just miscellaneous monster listing. You know what? If I added, this one only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could add, okay, I think these might have been July. I'll add these 2 to that one. These were October monster of the month. I'll add that to this one. Oh, I didn't show you this one yet, did I? Yeah. This is the happy orange guy. Although my husband calls him a Cossack. He's got the black furry hat on him. Speaking of furry, we have Mr. Extra Fuzzy. And you can't tell it because of all his fuzz down here, but he has sort of spirals for his legs. Little blue ball. Just a round little monster. Bit of sass. He's sticking his tongue out. Fuzzy Wuzzy. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a Fuzzy Wuzzy. This guy's fuzzy. And a little red guy. He's got fuzzy white and brown hair on the top. Cartoon eyes. So we'll take those. We'll add the two, what did I say, October? September? One of those. And we'll toss in little pink shaggy guy to round out the listing. Oh, wait a minute. How many is that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll take another one. Okay. The heart is going in there. I know a heart is not a monster, but I have nowhere else to put it. Maybe I should put him with Sluggo. And I have a camouflage alien. Oh. And I have 2 glow-in-the-dark monsters. I only have 2 left. Because when my granddaughter left last night, I gave her one to take along. I told her when she was going through the bag looking at all the monsters, I said, those glow in the dark. And she goes, they do? They do? How do I make them more? And we're trying to find a dark area of the house. Like, well, if you go down into Grandpa's workshop, then they'll really glow because there's no lights in his workshop. She didn't like the idea of going into that dark workshop with no lights. So she was like looking into the closet and closing the closet doors and getting it to glow. The one that she took home, they put it under a lamp and they got it nicely charged. And then she took it into a dark room at home and it glowed very bright. So she is enjoying her new toy. I think I'm going to wait until I get more glow monsters made before I make a listing for them because I only have the 2 of them now. And I think I've got all of my listing slots pretty much filled up now. Once I get these pictures taken, group pictures, individual pictures, write up the listing with like measurements of each one, update the inventory. Yeah. I let this go too long. And I still haven't designed my November monster. I have my idea. It's just putting it together. I'm almost done with the custom order. I need to work on that. But that scrap yarn, that box of scrap yarn was calling to me yesterday. I got to a point where I was getting pretty tired. And I didn't want to work on something complicated. So I made a snake. You're a green one, Mr. Snake. Just a green snake. Because I had a lot of green yarn in that scrap box. I took another picture of the scrap bin. Stop that, Mr. Snake. You're slithering around and stealing the show. I took another picture, but then I kept messing up when I was trying to start this video, and I think I deleted the picture when I was deleting the videos that didn't start outright. Like, I accidentally started the video, because if I wave my hand too much over on one side, that starts it. And I didn't have the camera right, and I was trying to fix the camera. I gave up, deleted that one, but also deleted the picture. And then, since my stock of axolotls was running rather low, I made a green axolotl. This is the pattern by Umbalka Designs, but I did go rogue on the legs. She has you do a little tube of like 5 stitches for 12 rows. I did a chain. I chained 9, slip stitch back 2 to make this first finger, chain 3, then slip stitch back 2 to make that finger, chain 3, slip stitch back 2 to make that finger, and then slip stitch back down to the beginning of the chain, and then I just sewed them on. And if I had known where the legs were going to be positioned, I could have made it no-sew by putting them on, like chaining when I got to this stitch, working my way back. But the thing was, I was playing yarn chicken. So I made all 4 legs, And then I just kept going until I ran out of yarn with the tail. I think I got to about 44 stitches. Her pattern, I think, is 50 something, 44 rows. Her pattern is over 50 rows. She really tapers the tail out more. And I think I may have gone rogue with the tail fin too. I just surface crocheted. Like I did a slip stitch on the side. Actually, we starting down here. Did a slip stitch, chain 4, then slip stitch. I just pinched the tail, and did slip stitches in the side stitch all the way around. So there's my axolotl. That means I need to find my other 2 or 3 long axolotls and get a picture of all 3 of them together, get an individual picture of this guy, and update that listing. Unless somebody wants to message me on Etsy and say, I'll take the green axolotl, then I wouldn't have to do all that work. Less work, better. Much better. Okay. I am going to finish this off. I think I am going to attack the dreaded chore of updating my inventory because it's just a mess to work with right now. It is. I'm glad that I numbered my pages because I dropped them on the floor at least 3 times, and it'll be difficult getting them back in order. Before the 3 shows that I have on this, it was 21 pages. So I did find one missing monster when I was going through the inventory. And, okay, get the